your wife. If you had daughters, then your daughters now would have to wait on the sons that were born to the new relationship to have a new husband. Now, can you imagine having to wait until little Billy got old enough to be your husband? Now you 50, and he just getting to 20, and now he's your husband. Can you imagine what kind of life that would be? Some of y'all can't even imagine. Watching Entertainment Tonight the other day, and they were making jokes about Demi Moore, because she just 50-something, and her new male friend is in his 30s. And the joke was, how was she going to keep up with him? And then one of the older ladies said, no, how was he going to keep up with her? Y'all don't watch TV, so I'm going to keep preaching. I love the text because it shows me how important it is for us to live a lifestyle pleasing to God before people that don't know God. Listen at Naomi's conversation with her daughters in chapter number 1. Then I want you to hear her daughter's response to Naomi. Naomi says, it's time for you to go back to your mothers. And I am about to go back to my people. But yet, because they had been together now, and they had nowhere else to go, both Orpah and Ruth cried out to stay with Naomi, but they realized that there couldn't be a connection because they were from two different worlds. The only way that they would survive is one had to give up their world, and Naomi was not willing to give up her God for their God. So watch what happens. We have to believe that Naomi lived a life pleasing to God before them, because Ruth's testimony says to Naomi, here's what I've seen of you. When you look at verse number 16 in chapter number 1, it says, Ruth speaks out and says, entreat me not to leave thee or to return from following after thee. For whether thou goest, I will go, and whether thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God shall be my God. Where thou diest, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee, you and me. Wow. Naomi says that it's time for you to go, but Ruth comes along and says, listen, I've been watching you all of these years, and I'm going through some trying times in my life, and I don't think I'm going to make it if I go back to my mama's house. So here's what I'm going to commit to. As long as you will allow me, I want to go back to where you're going, and I want to become a part of your life. I want your people to be my people. But here's the most important part of her testimony. I want your God to be my God. That in itself is the greatest testimony that you and I can have when we live a life so pleasing before God that people that see us want our God to become their God. Because ultimately we're living to be witnesses for Him. And if our lifestyles and our conversations are not reflecting Him, then how are we drawing people to God? We get a thrill out of people wanting to be around us. But we have to be careful that we don't lift ourselves up and exalt ourselves so that people can only see us. They have to see God in us. If you're going to lead somebody through difficult times, you've got to have God in your life. Because what I learned from this text is that there comes a time when you don't want to be bothered with nobody. Naomi has lost her husband. She lost both of her sons. For 12 years she has been without. Time has come where she just wants to go back home, be by herself. You ever been in a situation where you're so drained from life's challenges that you just want a break every now and then? You don't want nobody asking you no questions. You don't want nobody saying, give me this and give me that. You don't want nobody calling and saying, I need your help. Nobody calling saying, can I drop the kids off this weekend? Every now and then you just want some time to yourself. Here's what I know about Naomi. I know that Naomi was at a difficult place in her life. Because when you read chapter 1, go to verse number 20. Text says, when Naomi arrives back in the city, everybody is excited. Because she's been gone for a long time. And they question who she is. Can I tell you this? That the spirit in which you're living will change your countenance to a place where people can't recognize you. Now, somebody didn't get that. You be strung out on drugs for any length of time. And watch how it changes the outward countenance that you have. To the point where people won't even recognize you when you come into the room. When Naomi came back, the Bible says, the women said, "Is this not Naomi?" And when they called her name, Naomi's response reflects where we are right now. Naomi says to the people, "Why call me Naomi, but call me Mara? For the Almighty have dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord have brought me home again empty." One of the greatest things that you and I can talk about is when we're able to help people when we are empty. Because now we have to depend on God to help us help them. And mothers that are in the room this morning, I don't care whether you admit it or not, God has given you an extra something. Because there have been so many times when you had been given out and you had given all you can give and you had poured all you can pour and you had helped all you can help and there was nothing left. But somebody still came and asked you for something, and somehow or another you were able to reach deep down into your spirit and still give an encouraging word. You know why? Because God realized that your purpose is to become a woman of influence and to lead people through difficult times. When your children are going through, it's amazing how you still have an encouraging word. When your family members, and certain of them are always calling you, it's amazing how you still have a word of encouragement to speak into their lives. You know why? Because God realizes that you are going to have influence. And if you're going to walk in God's influence, He's got to take you through some things. He's got to let things happen in your life that you don't even ask, you don't even know why they're happening, but God knows. You don't know why you had to lose your child. You don't know why your loved one had to die. You don't know why you had to lose your child. You don't know why you had to move, but God does. And when God carries you through these difficult times, He's preparing you to become a woman of influence so that when the next person has to lose that child or the next person has to get the help because their husband walked out on them or the next person has to get some kind of relief because they get kicked out of the house, you are able to speak a word of encouragement into their souls because God has brought you through difficult times so that you can help somebody else. You ask yourself, why am I having to go through these challenges? Why am I having to go through these problems? I want you to know because God is preparing you to be a person of influence. Even though Naomi has lost her husband, even though Naomi has lost both of her sons, the Bible says that she has enough influence over Ruth to lead her to want to have a relationship with God. Now watch this now. Naomi's relationship with God is not that strong. But it's enough to win Ruth. I wish I could unpack that. A lot of us are running on empty. But the Bible says, when you are weak, His strength is made perfect in your weakness. So when you don't have nothing left to give, God steps in and He she was alive. And that's to be a mother to all of the children of the family. Every now and then, God has to move people out of your life and make room for your purpose to be born. And we don't want our purpose to be born if it requires losing people. We don't want our purpose to be born if it requires losing folk that we love so dearly. But can I submit to you today that when God calls your name, when God says it's time, I know you may not be ready, but when God is ready, that means that there's somebody else's life that is hinging upon you, waiting on you to answer the call of God. And when you answer the call of God, God already has somebody for you to talk to. God already has somebody waiting in the wind for you to breathe on. And so their very existence depends on you accepting your calling. Good God Almighty. Too many people are walking around here that deny their calling, and people are lost because somebody decided, I ain't ready yet. Naomi didn't have that privilege. So now she's pushed into her role of being a woman of influence. So when they get back to Bethlehem, Naomi's helped her, led her through difficult times. Now Naomi has to lead her to become a woman of duty. I thought that was very interesting because oftentimes we get so complacent about being under people that we take on their spirit. If Naomi had been a woman who was lazy and complacent with no drive at all, then Ruth would have adopted that mindset and also carried that same spirit. Preach, Pastor. But because Naomi was a woman of influence, God used Naomi to prepare Ruth for what God was getting ready to do in her. But there are certain things, young sisters, that you don't know yet. And the reason why God has put you with seasoned sisters is because they have experienced some things in life that's going to help you become who God has created you to become. You ought not sit around thinking because you've been doing this and you got access to that you have the wisdom and the knowledge you need to get to where you need to go. But God has put some seasoned folk in your life that has been through some challenges and overcome some problems and made it through some battles so that you will have somebody to look back to and to look up to and say, how do I do what I'm trying to do? And I thank God for women of influence that are able to look beyond what they've been through and see the power of God and say, baby, I've been through that very same situation and I wouldn't have made it out except God had not stepped into my life and revived my spirit and gave me some hope. Sometimes life will bring you down. You don't believe me? Just keep on living. But unpack that gleaning. Simply what other people have worked for.
All right.
You're the benefactor of other people's labor. There's some folk in this room that have worked tirelessly to make a way, and all you are a benefactor of other people's labor. You didn't get to where you are because you worked so hard. You got to where you are because somebody else has taken the time to work hard. Somebody else has gone to work. Somebody else has labored all day and all night. All you are is just a benefactor. comes and she is now going to be prepared. I'm sorry, the Old Testament form of the church. And she's now going to become married to the Redeemer. And so what the book of Ruth teaches us is that the church is now being prepared for Christ, who is the Redeemer. And so what Ruth has to learn is how to prepare herself to come into the presence of the Redeemer. Do you really don't understand here? You can't just show up and be thinking you're going to just walk into the presence of the King. You got to be prepared to go into the presence of the King. And Naomi is a woman of influence that has to lead this young lady to prepare herself to come out of her role as a slave and come out of her role as a lowlife and to come up to the next level of what God has prepared for her. Yesterday you were a prostitute. Now God wants you to be a princess. Yesterday you were walking the streets. Now God wants you to walk the palace. But you can't just show up. So Naomi has to prepare her for where she's going. And that's where chapter 3 comes in. Because the text says something wrong here. This girl needs some help. All of a sudden Boaz has some interest in her. But because Naomi is not the woman of the day, but Ruth is, Ruth don't know how to respond to Boaz. Because she is in widow status. And as a widow, I had no hope for me. So I just give up. But Naomi says to her, wait a minute, in chapter 3, verse number 1, should I help you get to where you need to get? Do you not read between the lines? Here is an eligible bachelor, and you are a young, vibrant woman. In my unsanctified mind, I know what that means. But in my sanctified mind, I see the hand of God moving. And you got to learn how to be a woman of influence, where God will show you what's going on in other people's lives and use you to help them get to where they need to be. Yeah? So she said, listen, let me tell you how to get this man. And verses 2, 3, and 4 are simply instructions to Ruth on how to move into her place of destiny. Boaz is a rich brother who owns property and owns some land and got some rental properties. Naomi and Ruth ain't got but a shack and they need some help. God will make a way for you to come up out of your situation as long as you're willing to follow his lead. When you let God lead you, God has got a plan that you know not of until you surrender your life and humble yourself and step back and start focusing on you and let God become the head of your life. What does he do? He makes it where Boaz is the next person in line to win Naomi and Ruth. The kinsman redeemer is the person who is eligible to come and purchase all of the land that Naomi's husband owned. And by purchasing the land, he now gets Ruth.
Come on now.
Before yesterday,
All right.
Boaz was just being Boaz.
All right.
But God made a way for this young, vibrant woman to come into his life. Only God can orchestrate that. There's some things going on in your life, brothers and sisters, only God can orchestrate. You're trying to figure it out, but God is trying to make a way for you. Let me just leave that alone. And so, Boaz now sets up a court hearing where there's a brother that also has the same eligibility as he does. But he unpacks it by saying, look, brother, you're the first one in line, and here's what's going on. Naomi is available, and the land that Elimelech had is available to you. If you purchase the land, then you have Naomi that you can take. And the brother says, listen, my life is already what I want it to be. I don't want the land or Naomi. Why don't you take her? But it wasn't about Naomi. Who was it about? Ruth. And in order to get to Ruth, Boaz had to purchase the land that belonged to Naomi.
All right.
Y'all have lost you now. learn how to move into your destiny. And I'm going to unpack it in 30 seconds. She says, here's what you got to do.